And my name's Jason McCartney, and I became part of the custodian group back in 1998. I was introduced to the program, and John in particular. I was lucky enough to invest in a couple of properties back then. It's been a fantastic journey for myself. At one stage, my wife and I actually had 6 properties. We were able to offload and sell 3 properties to fund our family home now here in Melbourne, and we're now back on the journey, still holding 3 properties, and we're just about to go through the process of purchasing our 4th property here in Melbourne this time. My background, an AFL footballer, played at 3 clubs, Collingwood, Adelaide and the North Melbourne Kangaroos. And in 2002, unfortunately, I found myself in a situation in Bali on holidays where I was caught up in the terrorist attacks in that year of October 2002. Obviously, it was a very difficult period for myself and my family during that time, where I was in hospital in Bali and then via Darwin back here to Melbourne to the Alfred Hospital, where I was fighting for my life. And I had amazing support, and I think that's what's really important with anything you do, that ability to really set goals and challenge yourself, but you need outstanding people around you and tremendous support, and I certainly had that in that situation. The injuries I sustained, I suffered 50% burns to my body, perforated eardrums and numerous shrapnel wounds from being in Paddy's Bar that night and only 5 metres from where the first of the bombings took place, where it was a suicide bomber, designated the first of 3 or 4 blasts that night. It was a struggle, but once again, like I said, tremendous support and great determination. I was able to work my way through that situation, and in 3.5 weeks, much to, I suppose, to the surprise of my surgeons and the people at the Alfred Hospital, I was released from the Alfred and underwent a rehabilitation program then that ultimately got me back to playing AFL football again, which was the goal. Before that, though, I had a more immediate goal, and that was the bombings taking place in October. December 14 of 2002 was my wedding date for Narissa and I. So that was a real short-term goal that was really able to focus and work and drive towards, and it wasn't given much hope, but we got there, and there's no doubt for me that was able to kickstart the ability and the journey towards getting back and playing AFL football. The goal was to really continue my career, but throughout that process I realised and understood that didn't know much about burn injuries, but I knew I had a long road ahead, and it would take 2 or 3 years to fully recover. So the goal altered. It was to get back and play, but ultimately it would be about playing one game and one game only. I was able to achieve that milestone on June the 6th of the 2003 AFL season, where I returned to play for the Kangaroos against Richmond. And what an amazing night. The main objective achieved, we won the game, most importantly, and when you're involved in a team, it's about team success. And then individually, thankfully I was able to play my part, kicking a goal and helping set up the last one that ultimately got us across the line. From there, it was about retirement, the next phase of my life, and what I do now is obviously still heavily involved in football. Worked at the AFL for 6 years after retirement, coaching the national team and involved in game development, and now working at the Western Bulldogs Football Club as list manager, so in control of the list, overseeing recruiting and the contracting process of our players. So the custodian journey has continued, like I said at the beginning, from 1998, and it was a really interesting time when I go back to that period in hospital after the incident in Bali. I remember laying there because I couldn't do too much, but my wife was really concerned. She was trying to think about, because it was a real struggle for me at the time, what were the things she had to take care of at home. And I remember her saying one thing about the investment properties in Queensland. What do I need to do with them? I said, you don't need to do anything. It's a well-structured program. They're well set up. They'll take care of themselves, and that's what I found about this program. Once you get set up, once you get started, probably the thing that I've had is make sure I do have that strong interest and go back and recheck and reevaluate what's the valuations like, what's the rent at the moment, because it is so easy, you can get into the habit of just letting it go. And that's what I said to my wife, it'll be okay, it'll be fine, and it has been. It's been a great journey for us. It's one that we're still on, and it's one that we want to continue on, because we know that's our way forward. We've got the lovely home in Melbourne, but obviously a little bit of debt on that, and this is a way and a means in which we can really set ourselves up. We've got 2 young boys, 8 and 6, so obviously beyond the primary school, the education and things like that. And look, work's busy, but you need to make sure you get that time away, and we love this time of year. I've just had a nice break from work, and to be able to get overseas for a couple of weeks and do the things we love. So obviously custodian has been a means for us to be able to do those things and continues to be so. So thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoy the webinar today, and all the best for 2015.